About 4 months ago, I made a video where I ranked every single quarterback on a tier list, and today we're going to be doing this again. This is right ahead of the playoffs. There's still about 3 weeks until the playoffs start, but as of right now, I don't think a lot is going to change over the next 3 weeks in terms of all these quarterbacks. So this is going to be a final list going into the playoffs, ranking every single quarterback. At the end of the video, we're going to compare the list I have now to what I had in the beginning of the year. So we'll see how correct I was, how accurate my predictions were in the beginning. These tiers look slightly different than what I had in the beginning of the year, but I think these work a little bit better. So let's go ahead and get things started with Aaron Rodgers. I remember in the beginning of the year, I had him in elevator, and I'm going to have to drop him down a tier. All the lack of success has not entirely been Aaron Rodgers' fault, but you can definitely put some of it on him. The team chemistry hasn't been there since the beginning of the year. Some of that is Rodgers' fault. Yes, he's been able to make throws still, but the mobility isn't there, obviously. But other than a few flashes of consistent offense, the Jets' offense really hasn't been there. And if Rodgers truly was an elevator, he would be able to take this lackluster team and get a few more wins than they have right now. They have like 4 wins, and it's week 16. As an elevator, that just can't happen. I still can't put him in game manager or mid because he hasn't fallen off that much, but he certainly has taken a slight step back. But moving forward, next up is Anthony Richardson. This is rough. I'm going to have to put him in unsure. I don't want to put a lot of guys in the unsure category because it's been 16 weeks. I should have a pretty good read on a lot of these guys. Most of the guys going here are going to be either young guys or people that have been hurt this season. Anthony Richardson, this year alone, I would have to put, it's been a mid-season for Anthony Richardson. But I'm not ranking solely off of the season. I'm ranking based off of the quarterback as a whole. And right now, I do not think Anthony Richardson's a mid-quarterback despite having them one mid-season. He's still very young. I think in the future, he still has a lot of potential, a lot of upside, which is why I'm going to have him in unsure. Another thing, the injuries have really hurt him, and that's another reason why it's really hard to draw a conclusion here. So I'm going to have to put him in unsure. If you guys want to let me know where you would put him in the comment section, go down there. I'll respond to all the comments. So just let me know where you would have him because right now I'm not entirely sure. But moving on, we have Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is not a starting level quarterback in the NFL. He never was. The Giants paid him money to be a superstar, and he's not even on their team anymore, and he definitely was not a good starter when he was there. I kind of want to put him in mid because as a backup, yeah, he probably would be one of the best backups in the NFL. But in my opinion, there's no reason for him to start on any team. He doesn't really have much potential at this point anymore. He's just like a guy that can come in if they really need him and maybe make a few throws. But that's about it from Daniel Jones. It's kind of sad to see how his careers went, but that's just the way it is. Moving on to Dak Prescott. This is another guy who I'm unsure about. Yes, it's been like 7 years in his career. I should be able to have a good read on him. He's the one experienced guy that I just have no good read on. I mean, he's showed flashes of being an elevator. Like last year, he was very, very solid, and you could argue him being in either of these tiers, but you can't really call him a game manager because the Cowboys paid him money to make full field reads and throw the ball downfield, which is not what a game manager does. Right now, it has been a mid-season for Dak. Yes, he's played like 6 games, so it's hard to draw a conclusion once again, which is why I'm going to just leave him in unsure for right now. A few more games next season, and if they're just as bad as it was earlier this year, I will not hesitate to put him in mid. If he recovers, I'll put him in solid, but right now, it's unsure. Moving on to Bryce Young, who's had a solid recovery. I want to put him in unsure as well, but I don't want to put too many guys there. I'm going to leave Bryce Young in mid for now. He's never been a great quarterback for an extended period of time. Yes, he's had flashes, but right now it seems like he's just mid. Honestly, I might go ahead and put him in game manager. I think that is kind of his ceiling at this point. Yes, I think he can actually be solid, so never mind. But being a game manager, it seems like it's something Bryce Young can do. But he's going to have to limit the mistakes, of course. He has fumbling problems, throws picks. And yes, since he's came back from being benched, he's been solid. But I don't think that's enough of a sample size to move him all the way up here. We still need to see more from Bryce Young. So I'm going to leave him in mid for now. Moving forward to Aiden O'Connell, I think Aiden O'Connell is a bench player. He was never an elite quarterback. He never had even the potential to be a good to great quarterback. Everybody knew he was just there for the Raiders. They're tanking this year. All right, fine. It's really just forgettable. He's had a couple good games. The Chiefs game was solid. And he's had other moments, but in the season as a whole, just hasn't been that great. But let's move on to a bit of a controversial one here. Beginning of the season, I had CJ Stroud an elevator. I'm going to have to drop him down a tier, man. If he was a true elevator, I think without Tank Dell, without Stephon Diggs, he would be playing a lot better right now, regardless of the lack of help. Right now, it just hasn't looked good this season. It seems like he's really taken a slight step back from last year. We'll see what he does in the playoffs. I still think he can be solid in the playoffs, which is why I have him in that tier. Can he be an elevator consistently, though? I don't know. I'm going to have to see it a little bit longer. The team could be better right now. The defense could be better. But if CJ Stroud was truly that good, I think he would be making this team a lot better than it is. Moving forward to another solid quarterback, I have Baker Mayfield. It's just been a respectable year for Baker. Yes, the interceptions are there, but he'll have 3 interceptions and throw 4 touchdowns to make up for it. The Chargers game was incredible. They scored like 40 points. Absolutely killed the Chargers in a game that I was not expecting them to win at all. But him and Mike Evans, great duo. Losing Chris Godwin, it looked like it would hurt them a lot, but they've been able to recover from it. Yes, they had a few games where they slid a little bit, but the recovery has been impressive, and a lot of that is because of Baker. But moving forward to Derek Carr, this might seem harsh. I wish there was a retire tier because that's 100% where Derek Carr should be. I mean, I'm going to put him in mid out of respect to what he's done in his career. I'm not going to put him next to Daniel Jones, Nathan O'Connell. Putting him next to Bryce Young isn't much better either, but he's mid. He just doesn't do much. He's not interesting to talk about right now. The Saints aren't a great topic to talk about right now. They just haven't done much. Yes, they almost beat the Commanders. Yes, Derek Carr was hurt and didn't even play, so I don't know why I brought that up, but he's mid. I'm sure there's no argument on that, really. Moving forward to Brock Purdy, a part of me kind of wants to put him in game manager, but I think that would be pretty disrespectful. I don't think he's an elevator because when all those guys went down with injury, he wasn't able to take that team to the next level. And I know that's a high standard to hold a quarterback to. Only the best of the best can do that, but if you want to be in this tier, you really have to do that. When your guys are banged up, you're going to have to still find a way to win, and I do not think Brock Purdy's done that this year. He obviously hasn't had the elite arm talent his whole career. He's good. He makes good reads. He can make the right pass. He's a very solid quarterback. I think that Super Bowl ring last year would have helped him a lot as an overall legacy. Who knows if he'll ever get that chance again, because right now it's looking rough. I hope he's able to turn it around, especially the 49ers right now. But as of right now, he's a solid quarterback. Can't hate too much, but he's not incredible. Deshaun Watson, I do not want to spend much time on. I don't know why he's even on this graphic right now. He's a bench quarterback. I think he's not very good. I don't think he should start in this league anymore. His time has passed. Let's just move on from that. Let's move on to a better topic here, a quarterback that has been very, very good this year. Solid for Geno Smith. He's in the bottom end of solid, in my opinion. He's not up here with CJ Stroud or Baker Mayfield. Yes, he got hurt on the Sunday Night Football game against the Packers. We'll see how he recovers from that. But I can't put him in game manager because he does more than that. He makes plays. He's not an elevator because of all the mistakes he makes. He's the reason they lose a few games, but he's also the reason why they win a few games, so it cancels out to him being solid. But let's move on. I'm pretty sure that's Jacoby Brissett. I, once again, don't know why he's on here. He's in bench. Let's move on. I don't want to spend too much time on him. Next up is Jalen Hurts. This one might be controversial. I think he's solid. I do not think he's an elevator, man. If you want to put the game in Jalen Hurts' hands to go win it, I don't believe in him way too much right now. He's similar to Brock Purdy in that with a good system, he can make it work. And that's what he's been doing for the past few years in Philadelphia. Yes, I think he's better than Brock Purdy, which is why I have him higher, because the running ability, obviously, and he has a little bit better of an arm. The decision-making at times is a little rusty, but when that first read is open, he's able to get it to him, especially with a guy like A.J. Brown who's able to separate so often. It works out for the Eagles very well, and with Saquon in the backfield. Jalen Hurts isn't asked to do much, but when he does have to do something, he'll do it to a very solid level. Moving forward to Jared Goff, again, this one might also be controversial. I think Jared Goff is solid, man. It's really hard to put anybody in this elevator tier right now because, once again, you have to elevate your players, and I don't know if Jared Goff does that. He's good. The team is incredible. I'm kind of knocking him points because the team is so good, but, I mean, I don't think he's an elevator. When you put the game in his hands, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go. We haven't seen him do that so far this year, so it's hard to really even make a conclusion or an argument to put him up here. But as of all these guys on this list so far that I've put on the list, I think he's the best quarterback out of all these guys, which is why he's the highest and the highest end of solid. And moving on, a few more guys that I got to throw into this solid tier, a couple rookies. Bo Nix, I'm going to put him around here, and I'm going to put Jaden Daniels around a similar place. I mean, they definitely have shown potential to be elevators. It's too early in their careers. Throwing them in solid for right now. Not much more to say about that. I probably should have seen this coming, but there's obviously a lot more solid quarterbacks than elite or bad quarterbacks. There's obviously going to be more towards the middle of the pack, and that's what all these guys are. Hopefully I don't have to add too many more names to the list. And here we go. Here's some better names right here. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback. I know the record is bad. He's been incredible. It's not his fault. Literally nothing that has been his fault this year. The offense has been great. It's just been the defense. Haven't been able to put together wins. If this was the only sample size that I saw, I would probably dock him down to elevator. But he's proved that he can win games as a quarterback. He took them to a Super Bowl in the past. So I still have to keep him an elite. Incredible year. The record doesn't dock him down too much because he's shown in the past that he can get wins as a quarterback. Moving on to Jordan Love. Jordan Love has proved to me this year that he's an elevator. I remember the QB tier list video I made last time. There was a few comments talking about how CJ Stroud was not better than Jordan Love. And I was pretty confident Stroud was better. But I was wrong. Jordan Love has been better this season. Long term, we'll see. CJ Stroud still has a lot of potential as well. But Jordan Love's been amazing. Their only losses have came against really good teams. Can he beat really good teams consistently? We'll have to see. We'll see it in the playoffs for sure. But he's been really good this year. And I think he is a tier above all of these guys right now in solid. Before we close this video off, let me get a few uninteresting guys out of the way. Will Levis is not a starting caliber quarterback in this league. That's not crazy to say. Tua's going in game manager. I think he's solid, but I do not think he's... I'm having second thoughts. Is he a game manager? Nah, I'm going to put him in solid. But a few guys that I will put in game manager. Trevor Lawrence, he can't really be anything better than this. I'll put Sam Darnold here as well. This might be a little low for you guys, but I think right now he just isn't asked to do a lot, which isn't his fault. It absolutely is not his fault. But he's shown in the past when he's had to take the reins of the offense before Minnesota hasn't been that great. And he has two of the best separators in the NFL with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. So yes, he's able to make it work. He's getting wins. You can get wins as a game manager. It's not a knock on Sam Darnold that he's a game manager. Sometimes that's just what you got to do. But we flew through a few quick ones there just because I think a lot of those guys, I think Tua, Sam Darnold, and Trevor Lawrence are all very, very similar caliber of quarterbacks. I think Lawrence might be a step down, but Tua and Sam Darnold are pretty much the same to me. I think Tua has shown in the past that he can do good with a great offense, obviously, as we expect from Tua. And Sam Darnold's proving that he can do the same thing this year. So I think they are on similar levels. Moving forward, Caleb Williams. Man. I mean, I think you have to put him in unsure. He has so much potential as a number one draft pick with all that arm talent, the ability to scramble, but he just needs to put it together. So far this season, they haven't been able to put together wins, and he hasn't been able to put together a very good season either. So we're going to have to leave him there for now. Moving on to another elite quarterback. We have a run of a few more elite quarterbacks, I think. We'll put Josh Allen up there. There's really no arguing it. I'm going to have him above Joe Burrow. I mean, he's been able to lead his team to wins this year. Joe Burrow hasn't. Once again, not a lot of that is Joe Burrow's fault, but that's my tiebreaker between the two. A few more guys that it just goes without saying. Patrick Mahomes is still elite. Yes, he is. I promise you he is. The stats have not been there. The wins have been there, of course, but the stats have not been there. I've seen people say to dock him down. You can't dock a 3-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time MVP down after winning all but one game. So that just makes no sense to me. I don't care what his stats are. But no, Mahomes isn't like the best quarterback in the NFL like he was last year or the years prior. He just hasn't had the production that Josh Allen has had. We'll see if they meet in the playoffs, but right now I do have Josh Allen just slightly above Patrick Mahomes. But let's just keep going. Justin Herbert. I still believe in Herbert, man. I think he's an elevator. This year, he's been on and off with the production, but the wins have been there. The game against the Buccaneers wasn't great. He's been injured for a few games now. But I genuinely do believe he's better than all of these guys in the solid tier just because the arm talent, the ability to make plays. He needs to win a few playoff games because it's looking bad that I've had this guy in elevator for all these years now and he hasn't really won playoff games. I think that does change this year. I think it is going to change. But as of right now, I'm believing in you, Herbert, because right now, it hasn't been a lot of playoff success. So I'm banking on it right now. Moving on to Kirk Cousins. In the beginning of the year, I would have had to make a solid argument to put him in elevator. But right now, it's been very rough. I think he should be a game manager. That's where he's at his best. This is rough, man, because he's been so inconsistent this season. I can't put a seasoned veteran who's been in the league for 10 plus years and has stayed completely healthy this year in the unsure category. That makes no sense. This is rough. I'm going to put him in the very, very bottom of solid. It's been a very inconsistent year for him. He's going to have to show more if he wants to be any higher. And I am recording this, by the way, before Monday Night Football. So if he has 5 touchdowns and 600 yards, that's probably going to change this a little bit. But you guys are going to see when I post this how that goes. But right now, he's going in solid. Last 4 names here. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a solid quarterback. And I think I'm going to put him just below Aaron Rodgers. I kind of want to put him in game manager because he hasn't been asked to do that much either this year. The run game has been so good. When he has been asked to do stuff, he hasn't been that great, but they're getting a few wins here and there with that team that I really didn't think would get many wins at all. So I'll give respect to Kyler and put him in solid. Lamar, without hesitation, is elite. These 4 right here are just unbeatable right now. I'm going to put Lamar... Oh, that's actually tough. This one might be controversial. I'm putting Lamar below Patrick Mahomes. The production has been similar to Josh Allen, but the big wins have not been there for the Ravens. Lost to the Chiefs, lost to the Steelers. We'll see if they can turn that around this Sunday. Another game against the Steelers, but as of right now, I'm going to have him as the 3rd best quarterback in the league. And closing things off with 2 seasoned veterans that have been on these tier lists for so many years. Russell Wilson and Matthew Stafford. Russell Wilson is very solid. He's going to go up here. One of the top 10 to 12 quarterbacks in the league this year. And Matthew Stafford comfortably sits in the elevator. I think that goes without saying for sure. He's been great this year, especially with his receivers back. He's been outstanding. But this is my list. So, just looking at the top 10, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love as the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. That is pretty crazy right now, but I stand by it. That's pretty true in my opinion. But I will move Matthew Stafford up. Actually, Matthew Stafford versus Jordan Love is a good argument. I'm going to put Stafford just slightly below. The consistency hasn't been as good as Love's. But he's right there at 6. Herbert at 7. Goff at 8. Jalen Hurts at 9. I'm still questioning CJ Stroud at 10. I might want to move somebody above him. I'll leave him there for now. I think this is actually a really good list. I'm usually a little unsure about a few things at the end. But right now, I think this is very, very solid. Let me know what you think in the comment section. In comparison to the first tier list, I think I did a decent job. The elite tier, for the most part, was solid. A couple guys dropped here and there. A couple guys did very good, did better than I expected. But I think I did a solid job, a lot better job than the team's tier list. You guys can check that one out as well. But that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll post more content. Every week, there's football content on this channel with the playoffs arriving as well. It's going to be incredible. But that's going to do it for me. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. I'll see you in the next video.